Hey everybody, it's Alexis again. Just wanted to go ahead and film the second anonymous story. Um, I know it's kind of like back to back, but I figured since I've not really posted anything and I want to say it's been 3 weeks, I figured why not? Let's go ahead and film another one. And I also don't want anyone to think that I don't plan on sharing their story and that I made you share your story with me for no reason. I promise that's not the case. And I promise I'm going to get to your story. It's just when all four of my kiddos are here, it's a lot harder to film, of course, with all of the distractions and kids running all over the place but so yeah, it's a lot easier to film when it's just me and my son here. Um, and of course, if you're wanting to share anonymously, that is definitely an option. Um, I can send you the guidelines. It's just um, basically giving you a setup of how, to word your story and how it'll help me read it on here to everyone that I'm sharing with. So, if you're wanting to share your name, that's cool. If you don't want to share your name, that is the whole point of the anonymous sharing. So if you want to do that, just direct message me. We can talk about it. Or even if you have any questions at all, please feel free to message me. Um, I'm usually trying to check all of my socials pretty often in case I do have someone reaching out to me. So please know that I am checking, and if you do happen to send me a message, I will look at it. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and start this anonymous survivor story. If I mess up or stumble over my words, I am so sorry in advance. I try really hard to take my time and talk slowly, um, but I'm a fast talker and I'm so sorry. I will also try and pause throughout the story and kind of give my input or just share whatever I'm thinking in that moment. So here we go. So before the time, I was already going through a lot. I had been through years of childhood abuse and drug use. I got sober and moved on with my life, ready to heal, getting into a long-term relationship and hoping for the best. I feel like we've all been through that. I feel I've definitely been through that. Um, Feeling like you're getting your life together and you're gonna get married to this guy. I totally get it, girl. Totally get it. We were young and naive for sure. Um, where was I at? Okay, here we go. Skip a beat. At age 19, I was 2 weeks postpartum with my second child. The father of my kids took it upon himself to force sex on me when I wasn't fully healed. Okay, so let's process that for a second because, first of all, completely disgusting. Um, if you're a man and this woman has just given birth to both of y'all's child, has brought the life into this world, and you can't wait 6 freaking weeks to stick your thing in something, bro. Like, come on, come on, come on. Clearly, you have no self discipline and you need some help. Um, I 2 weeks is insane. 2 weeks is insane. And I am so sorry that he had no self discipline. That is crazy, girl. I am so sorry. I can't even imagine how painful it was. That's disgusting. And I am so sorry you had to endure that. If you can hear the train, I'm so sorry. It is so close to our apartment. Um, I usually, it's usually not in the video, but the one time, the one time. Okay, sorry. Um, but like I was saying, absolutely disgusting. And I can't even believe he couldn't at least wait the 6 week killing period. And even then, guys, you can wait a little longer than 6 weeks. Your girl could use a little longer than 6 weeks to do a little more healing. Self discipline, guys. How hard? How hard is that? Good Lord. At age 19, I was 2 weeks postpartum with my second child. The father of my kids took it upon himself to force sex on me when I wasn't fully healed. It was extremely painful, and afterwards said he wouldn't do it again. As I drifted away emotionally, I also didn't want bedroom time, and it pushed him to force it upon me time and time again. It's such a terrible situation. And I know that I have had some moments in my past where I've like questioned like why why did you let that happen? And I know that it's never, of course, a situation of we let it happen, but almost a situation of like, what are the words I'm looking for? It just, it's like this is the person that is supposed to be my partner for life, my husband, the father of my children. Like, aren't I supposed to give him what he wants? And I feel like growing up, there almost was that sense of you're supposed to listen to the husband, and he's the provider of the household, and the da 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 and blah 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 blah. No, 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 no. Kids are no kids. It's not okay. And I'm so sorry that in that moment you felt like it was something you had to get through for the sake of keeping your family together and holding it together for your kids. I am so sorry. I didn't have the energy to fight, as it was already an abusive relationship, and I had just had two babies a year apart. I had nowhere to go, so leaving wasn't an option. That's another thing, too, is like when we're the ones staying home, and especially in situations like that, especially when you're the one staying home with the kids and he's the financial provider, it's like you really are stuck. And it's a very debilitating and a hopeless feeling, um, to feel like you have no other option but to just get through it and hope that it stops and hope that it just goes back to what it was before that ever happened. And I completely understand where you were coming from of trying to make sure that your kids had a home and were okay and were taken care of. Um, but I'm so sorry that meant putting yourself on the back burner. And I'm so sorry. I had just had two babies a year apart. I had nowhere to go, so leaving wasn't an option. Things settled. I found out I was pregnant. and which wasn't consensual, but I kept the baby because that's my choice. And my baby, at around 7 months pregnant, was sorry, I kind of like read it wrong a little bit. Okay. I found out I was pregnant and which wasn't consensual, but I kept the baby because that's my choice and my baby. At around 7 months pregnant, it became the story of my life again. We got into a pretty rough argument, and he told me he was leaving and never coming back. I was torn, and I loved him. I kept my babies happy and went through the night when I went to sleep. I might be reading this wrong. I'm sorry. Okay, I went to sleep. I was half woke up, but still half asleep, to him forcing himself inside me and recording it at some point. So there wasn't like a, is it okay? Is this okay? I think one topic that truly is not talked about enough, just because you are in a relationship with someone, just because you are married to someone, does not mean you have consent. Let me repeat it again. Let me repeat it again. Just because you are in a relationship with someone, or just because you are married to someone, does not mean you have consent. Woman or male, I don't care. It does not mean you have consent. I don't care if it's a hookup, a one night stand. Just because you have had sexual relationship, just because you have had a sexual relationship with that person, does not give you consent to put your hands on them anytime you want to. No. You do not get to wake them up in the middle of the night just sticking your penis in them. You do not get to wake up in the middle of the night just getting on top of him. It goes both ways, guys. Consent goes both ways. That I am so sorry that you had to go through that. And I am so sorry that he thought that just because y'all had a relationship that he could just take advantage of you whenever he wanted to. That was not right. And in any way, it wasn't right in any way. And he was recording it. I was half woke up, but still half asleep, to him forcing himself inside me and recording it at some point. The recording almost feels intentional, almost as if it's mm, mm-mm. I want to fight this man. I want to fight this man for you. Like, what? That I'm so sorry. I was emotional, confused, just wanted my kids to have a happy family, and thought I could force that for them the first time. Oh, sorry. And thought I could force that for them. The first time and that time were the most traumatic and changed me as a person forever. I didn't tell anyone until I finally left, and I got sympathy, but it isn't much that can really be done about it in this time in my life. In this time in my life, I was believed. I lied to get away from the situation, and I left the state I do not cope. I guess this is a step to kind of doing, oh, it's like a step to coping. Completely understand. Um, to kind of doing that is to be heard because I have never shared details to a soul. Life has been a constant push to make a good life for me and my kids and to never be hurt again and to never let them be hurt. It makes the mental health problems I already had so much worse. It did not change my opinion on having kids. I would have as many more. Sorry. I would have as many more as God will let me because children aren't the problem. I do not see my abuser, and I hope I never do again. The anxiety of my two children that were created in the abuse is that I never want them to know. And if they ever find out, I hope they never think I love them any less than my other children. I was one of those kids, and I just want you to know that they will not think less of you. They will not think that they are less. Um, but they will love you and they will be grateful that you got them out of a toxic household like that. And I truly believe that they will understand. Um, as a kid, of course, finding something like that out is really hard to process. Because as a kid, you only have so many life experiences to fall back on to be understanding and empathetic for other people. Um, and especially in like really traumatic and serious situations like that of holding a family together, um, so your kids can have both parents and be taken care of and provided for and have a roof over their head. And um, I completely get it. And I promise you, they are not going to resent you in any way. They're not going to blame you and point fingers. They will start to see what was the real issue and who was the real issue in that situation. So please do not beat yourself up over this. I want you to know that you did what you thought was right in that time for your kids. Um, and I mean, especially when it comes to your abuser being someone that you idolize and love and respect and trust. Um, it's almost like a mind fuck. Like it's like, how do I go forward after this? Like, because there's still, like, even when that happens to you, there's still that love there. There's still that, oh, it might not happen again. Um, there's still that hope that they will just go back to being the person that you've always seen them as. They'll go back to being the loving and kind and gentle person that you thought they were. Um, and it's unfortunate because predators are very good at manipulating people. They're very good at putting on a facade and this whole new fake personality, to make you believe that they truly have good intentions, um, when that's the complete opposite of their plan. And it's so unfortunate to go through that. And it's almost like, wow, how did I get so warped into that, that I truly believed that they could get better, they could do better, and that it would be okay, when that was never what was going to happen. Um, Once they showed their true colors, that was their true colors. Um, but I'm gonna, sorry, I keep hitting my microphone every time, bro. But let me see if I read all of this. And if they ever find out, I hope they never think I love them any less than my other children. Okay, and I think so on my guidelines, I normally have like, if you send in your story, you can also ask me questions. Um, I didn't get any questions on my last one, but I do have questions on this one. So I just want you to know, if you guys send me questions, I will answer them to the best of my ability. Um, but I only have so much knowledge, and I can only give you so much advice from my own experiences that I've had. So if I don't fully answer your question, I'm so sorry, but I am going to try my best. Um, okay. First one is, how are you supposed to cope when someone who, in your eyes, saved your life, then made it a living hell and made you feel like they could just end your life any moment? So, in your situation, you had sexual abuse happening and you had physical abuse happening. First, I want to start by saying I am so sorry. I know I say it a lot, and I know it may sound overheard, but for some survivors, they don't get to hear "I'm sorry" or "I believe you" or "you're valid in your feelings and your healing journey and how you handled the situation." Um, because in those moments, we really are in the fight or flight, and we are just trying to survive, because our brain cannot function or process what is happening to us. um, so how are you supposed to cope? um, I used to wonder the same thing, honestly. I used to wonder, what even is coping? How does one even begin to do that? And I would be lying if I said I completely knew the answer to that. Um, but what I do know is, in order to start healing, and to start that healing process, and to really get past your trauma and heal that that person inside of you before the abuse happened. Um, I know it's hard, um, but talking about your abuse, almost desensitizing yourself in a sense to it. Um, I know what I used to do as a kid is, I always felt really uncomfortable sharing my story with other people. So I would sit in a room and I would tell my story from start to finish, as if I was having a conversation with somebody about it. Um, I have, of course, went to therapy, and I have shared, my story with therapists. I'd say when I was 13, when I had my first therapist, is when I like really went into depth about what happened with my abuse. But um, as far as other therapists that I've been to, as an adult, I've never really shared like full on detail. But of course, now doing this, and talking about it more, and of course talking to other survivors who have also been through the same thing, it is so helpful to know that you're not alone. And even talking to friends about realizations that I've had. Because since doing this and since, digging up all of my trauma and digging up all of my experiences to share with other survivors, it's made me come to my own realizations, and has kind of brought more memories um, in focus for me. And I truly do feel like it heals a part of you, to talk about it more, and to just, I feel like this, doing something like this, like just talking to another survivor about your experience. And even though I know not everyone's story is the same, I feel like we all kind of go through the same motions with um, mental health, and like becoming an adult, and like guiding yourself through life and trying to understand like what happened to you, when why you are the way that you are now in your sexual relationships, and just fully understanding what sexual abuse is and how it affects you. Um, so I definitely recommend therapy. I recommend, if you have, a friend that who has been sexually abused or has been in a situation like your own, sharing that with them and talking about it openly with somebody, I feel like really heals something inside of you, and almost lifts a burden off your chest. And I'm sure sending this message almost kind of, you felt it a little bit, probably. Um, and that's exactly it. I feel like the more we suppress it and we suppress the memories, the more triggers we start to see, the more mood swings we start to see, and outbursts of just not understanding why we're feeling the way we feel in the moments that we do. Um, so definitely talking through those emotions, um, the trauma itself, your mental health, everything. Talk. Do not be afraid to talk. And of course, I am always just a message away, so please do not hesitate to message me. I'm here to answer any questions or talk through any feelings that you may be feeling. But yes, this is a safe place and a judgment free zone. Okay, sorry, I gotta like go back to it. Okay, I'm sorry if you needed a better answer. um, I'm trying to answer it as best as I can, but okay, second one was, how do you move forward? Would you take it to court? Would you keep your kids away from him? What's the move from there? Okay, so I've here, okay, here is my look on this, right? If he was not capable of having any self discipline when it came to you and your body, who's to say that he has any self discipline when it comes to his own children and they start having developing bodies, or even before they do? Clearly, he has shown he is not capable of having any self discipline. He's not capable of holding it back. Um, it's it's kind of sounding like some sex addiction to me, that he can't even wait 6 weeks to have sex. Um, so that is something I would definitely address. You need to go to therapy and like address that, because that wasn't okay in any form. Um, but also, I know you said that it was also a physically violent and abusive situation, and that he made you feel like your life was in danger. So yes, of course, keep the kids away from him, please. Um, If it happened when you were 19, I would say that you're still in the clear to take it to court if that is something that you feel like you can do. I know court is a whole different ball game, and facing your abuser all over again and having to relive it all by talking about all of it all over again, and especially in front of him, is a whole different scenario. So if that's something that you're wanting to do, I obviously I don't know the steps of doing that. I would look into it if I was you. And if he has that video still, I would look into seeing if he still has that video. Um, and if he does, maybe that's evidence right there. Evidence right there that he was sexually abusing you and doing it while you were asleep without your consent. Um, I know the justice system is fucked, and that I wish I could say differently. I truly, truly do. I mean, I'm thankful that my situation happened and played out the way it did, but it's not like that for everyone. And that is the unfortunate reality, is not everyone gets their justice. But in this situation, with you having kids with this person, I would definitely do whatever you can and take whatever legal action you need to keep your kids away from this person. Um, because between physical abuse and sexual abuse, who's to say he isn't capable of doing it to y'all's kids as well? So definitely take whatever action you need to keep those kids away from him. Because I agree, they were better not being in that situation, um, and you guys getting out of that. But yeah, um, I definitely recommend going ahead and figuring out what legal action you can take to keep them away from him, and make sure they don't ever have to go through that again. Um, and I truly hope that that works out for you. Please let me know how that goes. Please message me if you have any more questions, or if you need any help figuring that stuff out. I definitely do not care to help you out with that. So thank you so much for sending your story in. I know how hard it is to do these, even just typing it out and sending it as a message, I know can be really hard. Just thinking about that stuff and kind of bringing it back up to the surface. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for your bravery and your kindness. Um, you're such a sweetheart, and truly, I'm so glad that you got out of that situation and that you're doing good now and that your kids are doing good as well. Um, so, yeah, thank you so much. I'm glad I was able to do this, and use this platform to share other people's stories for them, um, and to bring other people on here so they can share their stories. It's a beautiful thing, and it's a conversation that definitely needs to be brought up a little bit more. So thank you so much. And I will hopefully be filming another one of these. Who knows? Maybe I'll film another one this week. We'll see. But thank you guys, and we'll see you later.